Attention crypto holders. This is an emergency. Share this with anyone you know who uses crypto. Major news is breaking right now. Popular crypto wallet Ledger's CTO has declared that over 1 billion wallets have been compromised. That's 1 billion compromised. If you know someone who uses crypto, send them this immediately. And please, understand this yourself, otherwise, you risk losing your money. Here's what's happening. A major wallet malware issue is currently under investigation. In short, malicious software is changing addresses at the last second and stealing coins. From this moment forward, exercise extreme caution with all transactions. If you use a hardware wallet, you are safe as long as you carefully verify each transaction. If you use a hot wallet, the recommendation is to stop using it for now. Smash the like button if you appreciate daily updates keeping you informed about crypto. The TLDR, double and triple check every digit on every transaction. Share this with anyone who uses crypto. Protect your funds, crypto will be worth much more in the future. And speaking of the future, just ask Tom Lee. Today on CNBC, Tom Lee shocked the anchors by saying Bitcoin can still easily reach $200,000 before year end. Ethereum, he added, will outperform. What's great is that Tom doesn't just make bold claims, he explains why. Here's what he said.
Tom, Bitcoin, before we let you go, tell us what you think. We're at about $111,000. The upside, the downside from here?
Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies like Ethereum are super sensitive to monetary policy. So I think that September 17th is an important catalyst. Crypto typically does really well in the fourth quarter. So I think Bitcoin can easily get to 200,000 before year end. I know it's a big move. It's almost a double. But that's also going to be
almost a double from here. Let's just hold on. Let's just take a quick pause. A double from here. So everybody's listening to this. We're at $111,000, and you think we, by Christmas time, effectively, we could be at 200,000?
That's right. One of the reasons Bitcoin stalled this year is the Fed's been on pause for 9 months. That pause all year, if you look at an easing cycle, that's only happened 2 other times, in 1998 and 2024, where the Fed began to resume cuts in the fourth quarter in September. Equities do really well. As you know, crypto is beta to equity. So I think it's going to be a very strong fourth quarter. Small caps should also rally, like IWM, but that also is really bullish for Ethereum, which is highly linked to small caps.
So you are seriously bullish into the end of the year at this point, given these rate cuts. You don't look at it as bad news is good news, but therefore the good news can't be that good situation?
I would be more cautious, Andrew, if we didn't encounter so much skepticism about stocks. I think year to date, the S&P is up 10%. As you know, when you look at a pretty good measure like AAII, net bulls, less bears, it's been negative for 5 weeks. So at all-time highs, investors are bearish. And we find that skepticism among our institutional clients. So I think most are kind of bracing for a defensive view between September and year end. That's why I think that the stock market will surprise to the upside.
At the same time, Michael Saylor is back in the spotlight. On CNBC, he was asked about Tom Lee's $200,000 prediction. Interestingly, CNBC seemed more bullish than Saylor himself, pushing him to give a number. Saylor stayed cool, but between the lines, it's clear he's extremely bullish. Saylor explained.
We had Tom Lee on the broadcast. I don't know if you saw this earlier today. And he effectively said Bitcoin at $111,000 is headed to $200,000 effectively by Christmas. What do you think of that?
Well, most of the equity analysts that follow our stock have target prices for Bitcoin, and they're all north of 150. Bitcoin represents a digital transformation of the capital markets. And so the more people know about it, the more they get educated on it, the more companies embrace it, the higher it goes. You can't make any more of it.
Right. That may be all. But in terms of just what you're seeing in terms of flows and whatnot, that would get it to $200,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah, great flows from the ETFs. BlackRock is showing record numbers. Our companies raised $19 billion this year.
Right.
All of it went into Bitcoin. We just announced $217 million of Bitcoin purchases this morning before I walked onto this set here.
Wait, 217 million this morning?
217 million, just slightly less than 2,000 Bitcoin. Our first buy, and we were the first public company to buy Bitcoin, we bought $250 million of Bitcoin, and that was like all the money we'd come up with in 30 years.
Yeah.
And this was just a short week, 4 days.
Saylor made it clear, Bitcoin will hit $1 million someday. Ethereum will hit $20,000 someday. Why? Because BlackRock is pushing it. He pointed to BlackRock's reports and statements showing they are fully behind Bitcoin, Ethereum, and crypto in general. This is why I got emotional watching another clip, Larry Fink on TV last year. He went from calling Bitcoin a scam to openly endorsing it. That education campaign, that change of tone, is what's fueling this massive snowball effect we're witnessing today. Larry Fink himself said,
I believe Bitcoin is legitimate. I believe it is an instrument that you invest in when you're more frightened, though. It is an instrument when you believe that countries are debasing their currency, debasing their currency by excess deficits, and some countries are. I believe we have countries where you're frightened of your everyday existence, and if you have an opportunity to invest in something that is outside your country's control, then you can have more financial control. And so I'm a major believer that there is a role for Bitcoin in portfolios. I believe you're going to see that as one of the asset classes that we all look at. I look at it as digital gold, as I said before, and I do believe there's a real need for everyone to look at it as one alternative to, I would say, the optimism that I have in the world. If you want to hedge hope, Bitcoin is not an instrument for hope unless you're hopeful you're going to make a lot of money on it. But I look at it as a vehicle in which you're expressing your financial acumen in something that you're more frightened of the world, you're more frightened of your existence. And I believe there's a great industrial use for it. And I think a lot of people are missing that.
I couldn't agree more. I changed my mind about it when you did.
Meanwhile, in Washington, the Clarity Act is moving forward. The House GOP is pressing the Senate to approve it, creating clear rules for digital asset markets. Combine this with expected rate cuts, and you have two massive catalysts ahead. That's why I've never been more bullish. For the last 7 to 8 years, I've been coming to you daily saying the same thing. Buy Bitcoin. Buy Ethereum. Crypto is bullish. And today, that has never been more true. So subscribe to Kalen Moss channel. Our best years are still ahead. See you soon.